Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Hajin Lee with a morning update for Bitcoin. Overnight prices bought 12,821, almost 13,000. Fantastic. We left with this ascending bullish, ascending right triangle last night. And the projection was that this white upper trend line should be breached. And if it is breached, it would be ideal to have it breached decisively. What do I mean by decisively? That the price rise and stay above it and not come back down below. Just like here, price did rise but came promptly right back below and touched the lower trend line. So let me give you what's happening here from a buyer's population and a seller population perspective. Buyers are trying to bring the price past and above the resistance line here. Every time this resistance line is hit, there is plenty of sellers to drive it back down. These sellers might be selling because they're afraid of maybe a bearish wick. And if they sold and took short-term profits, they certainly did well and bought back in. That level of short-term trading I don't recommend. But that is what I call day trading. And the surest way, the only way that I know, and the quickest way to make $1 million is to, by day trading, is to start with $2 million. Okay? There is enough population of sellers here driving it back. But every time price hits the resistance becomes weaker. Think of a battering ram. Every time it hits the wall weakens. So the price battering ram hit it, came back down. Hit it, came back down. Now it breached it. So it would be interesting to see if we can stay above it. What I mean by decisively breaching is if we stay above it. And from there bounce off the now new support. Once the resistance is breached, the resistance now becomes support. And it works the other way around. Whenever price comes towards the support, there are plenty of buyers buying. The reason is because those who sold here thinking the same thing's going to happen, that the price will get repelled, were wrong. And they're kicking themselves. And now they're going to buy back in. So throughout the day, I'd like to see if we will remain above this new support line. It did pierce it here. And if it did a piercing like this, to me, this is a bullish piercing, a bullish wick. And I've explained before how bullish wicks work. It gets rid of all the weak hands. Those who are have been watching this very carefully. This upper trend line is extremely important for them to decide whether to buy or sell. And if it went below that support, they were freaking out and panic selling. Because to them, that was a big event. And sure enough, price came right back above. Now they're kicking themselves. That's no way to be trading. That's no way to be making money. In fact, that kind of trading brings your account to zero. The reason is it makes an erratic mess out of your emotions and your psyche. You're trading purely based on trying to predict momentary direction based on chart patterns alone. And even if you have all these lines of moving averages, stochastics to Ichimochi, whatever clouds, I've seen charts with so much indicators on it I can't even see the damn price bars. If it works for them somehow, great. But I just fail to fathom how that can work. I have yet to see anyone who uses more than 2 or 3 indicators be consistently and reproducibly profitable. The more indicators you have, the more conflicting data you're going to get. And that's very dangerous. You are almost trying to look for a consensus amongst the indicators, amongst a population of indicators, with the stochastic, MSD, RSI, Bollinger Bands, standard deviations, Ichimochi clouds, candles. If all of those stars line up, I'm going to buy. Nuts. That's what I say. It doesn't work. How do I know? I tried it. So there's nothing wrong with trying and putting as many indicators as you want. The only thing is that it doesn't really work. The other thing that I want to get into, and this is today's snippet, take home, is, as you know, I travel quite a bit. But before I get into that, I consistently hear of this analyst calling for a top on Bitcoin, that analyst calling for a top on Bitcoin. A lot of analysts are trying to nail the top. And when they're trying to nail the top, I think they get confused in perceiving the top as an event and not a process. Topping is a process. That is why trying to pinpoint the top is a fool's game. It doesn't work. And if you happen to be right, it's by fluke only. I'll say that again. Topping, price topping, or market topping is a process, not an event. And many people are trying to predict the top. And they're consistently and repeatedly failing. Let me tell you how one indicator that I'm using to see if I can find a top. As you know, I travel quite a bit. I go through airports around the world. And when I'm wearing a nice shoe, I go get a shoe shine at the airport. And my intent always is to ask a question to the very nice shoe shiner. And that question is, what do you think about Bitcoins? So for the response, been more on, what's that? No, nothing. Thanks very much. I was just curious. I don't ask the same shoe shiner the same question. That's not the intent. Otherwise, you get a learned event. So my intent is, I don't think there will be a market top for Bitcoin until I see shoe shiners when I ask the same question, what do you think about Bitcoin? Until I see maybe a shoe shiner say, oh, why do you want to get into Bitcoin? You should be buying BitShares, like this guy Hedgen says. But all kidding aside, that is an indicator that I will be consistently using and testing out. Throughout the airports I travel, get a shoe shiner and ask the question to the shoe shiner, what do you think about Bitcoins? And the day I get a response of type like, I think Bitcoins are overrated, instead, sir, you should be buying Digibytes. Instead, you know what, mister, thank you for your very nice tip. I'll give you a tip on cryptos. if and when and should I get a response of that type or of a similar type, I will run to my computer and sell everything I've got in cryptos. I hope that drives home the point for another reason why I'm not seeing a market top yet in Bitcoin. More importantly, three days ago I put out this blog. Something big, something huge, something real massive is approaching the cryptosphere. And I likened it to the Cambrian evolutionary explosion of altcoins. There's a speciation event going on in the altcoins from a technical pattern perspective. These massive cup and handles are just beginning to pop. Steam hasn't even broken out of its channel yet, and it shall to 3 and then to 14. I can show you 100 of these patterns, very bullish cup and handle patterns. If you pull up the chart of Zen, you will see what can happen because of these patterns. The jaws of wealth pattern. Litecoin is phenomenally well embedded in this, and you will see high triple digits. The downward pointing symmetrical bullish triangle patterns. The stage is set for the altcoins to be going through their exponential cycle that Bitcoin and Ethereum have already had. And if I am correct, in this background and bullish setting, Bitcoin is not ready to top. So my two primary indicators of a top will be when I see bearish topping patterns in the altcoins. They will indicate the real top, at least from a primary cycle point of view or intermediate point of view cycle. And if I combine that with the shoe shine indicator, two indicators, only two, pattern and a shoe shine. When they confirm each other, I'll be pretty confident that a top is approaching or in or about to happen. And that's when I'll be exiting. Not only just my altcoins, but probably all my Bitcoins. I hope this has been helpful. And as always, I hope I have earned the right to ask you for the consideration of your vote. That would be greatly and much appreciated. So let's see what happens during the day, and then I think this support's going to hold. And if it does, we're going to go to 13,810 minimum, in my opinion. Thank you and have a good day.